for the pitter-patter of little feet. I'm ready for the messes and the sparkling eyes and those little moments that only a child can bring to your home. Oh, it seems like it was just yesterday. We were waiting for our firstborn, waiting for Benjamin. Oh, we waited. Oh, did we wait? I was betrothed when I was only 13. Levi was 22. Now that was a day. Papa dropped that one on me like a bag of beans on my feet. Oh, Papa, what are you thinking? He's from good stock. Good stock? What does that mean? Levi comes from a good family. The discussion is closed. Closed, Papa? Was it ever opened? Mama, what is he doing to my life? Oh, Mama, she had such a gentle spirit. She tapped me on the shoulder. Rachel, Levi's a good man. You'll learn to love him. Just open your heart and give him a chance. Give him a chance, but Mama, he's ugly. Oh! I guess as it turned out, we were all three right. Levi's family, they took me in and they loved me as if I was their very own. And Mama was always right. How could I not love Levi? Levi cherished me as if I was a gift made from heaven just for him. And the ugly part, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And Levi has matured into a man of dignity and a handsome grandpa-to-be. Now Benjamin, my firstborn, he didn't have to wait a day for his beauty. That child was gorgeous the day he was born. His eyes sparkled, and his hair was so curly. That child could melt the hardest heart. He could make anyone laugh. Well, I remember when he was 2 years old, he'd take a stick and go around the house, yo, yo, yo. He'd tap everything in my house. You see, he was a shepherd, and everything in my house was a sheep. He imitated his papa to a T. I remember when Levi used to go to Bethlehem, Benjamin would sit on his shoulder and he'd sit up so high just like he was one of the big men going to Bethlehem to do business. Oh, Benjamin. He was his father's delight. And Benjamin, he was my sunshine. He was my joy. It's amazing how tragedy falls. In the time that it takes the wind to whistle across the trees, something can happen in your life that rips out your heart, and your hopes and your dreams slip through your fingers, and there's would cry. Sometimes we would share thoughts. But the numbness and the shock, it turned to pain, and the pain turned into anger, and the anger turned into bitterness, and the bitterness turned into a hate that was deeper than any emotion I had ever felt. 30 years went on, and I found a way to put one foot in front of the other. I found a way to smile. I had more children, and I loved them as I had loved Benjamin, but there was a cloud. There was a cloud that hung over my head. There were chains that held my heart, and I felt as if I could just hang on to it, that somehow it would be made right. Like I had a right to hold on to this, and I never let it go. And it consumed my life, and I fooled a lot of people. I never fooled Levi. Levi knew the joy that had left my eyes. Well, one day I heard someone was being crucified. It was Jesus. Oh, I didn't want to go. I hated that stuff. But something in my heart pulled me. And I couldn't deny it. I tried to stay busy, but I wanted to go. The crowds were so massive, and I worked through the crowds, and I'd crawl under and crawl around. Something was pulling me, and I got to a place, and I looked up, and I could see the base of that cross. And my eyes lifted up, and Jesus turned his head, and he looked right at me, and he knew me, and he knew Benjamin, and he knew what we had been through, and I knew who he was. He was the Son of the living God. I was changed that day. His Spirit enveloped me. I felt love greater than the hate. I was able to take that load that I had held on to, that I had a right to for 30 years. I could take that load, and I laid it at the foot of the cross that day. Oh, what is your load? What is your pain? You can give Jesus your load. From that day forward, I knew I would never, ever be the same.
As praise team ends with our closing music today, I want you to consider, what is your load? What is your pain? What is that circumstance, that problem, that part of your life that needs to be transformed? And I invite you in prayer, as we're singing, as we're worshiping, to let that go. Let God change and transform your life today in Jesus Christ.
Keeping the world always laughing, but down deep in your soul, you are dying. Hurt that hasn't healed starts to cry for their freedom. Wings that you need to fly, they are broken. Jesus